Hey guys, my name is Carl. I'm at University of Minnesota Duluth right now. I just want to take a few minutes out of my day and share my story of how I met Jesus in my life with you. I knew Jesus from a very young age. I was saved when I was very little. I honestly couldn't tell you when because I was just too little to know what was going on. But in growing up with that, I just always thought that as a kid, church was just kind of one of those boring things. You went up and got into church, went to church on Sunday just because that's what you did. And I never saw Christ as beautiful. I never saw God as beautiful either. And as I grew up in that, I turned to other things that define my joy and my complete life in. And through high school and everything, baseball and pleasing others were the two things that really I centered my life around. Whatever I did, it had to be related to baseball. The way I dressed, who I talked to, what I did in my free time, all those things had to relate back to the fact that I wanted you to know that my life was about playing baseball. And I just wanted people to like me because of that. I knew people valued that in people, so that's why I wanted to pursue that. And through it all, looking back at it, I felt like my life was lacking a sense of purpose. So I pursued it even harder when I was realizing, my life, is this really a good purpose for my life? And then God took baseball away from me, and that kind of spun me out for a couple of years. I injured my arm junior year of high school, and I've never really physically fully recovered from it, even to this day. And so I started turning to, more of the pleasing others, and especially turning the attention to my girlfriend. And we were all about pleasing each other and trying to love each other because, I felt personally the loneliness of, especially getting to college, and not having a solid group of friends that was always there, always around me, doing all this stuff. And I was turning to her and idolizing her. And finally, we both came to the realization one day that, this wasn't healthy. The way we were loving each other wasn't healthy, and we couldn't go on with our relationship like this. And we broke down. And we came to this point where we realized, we needed to reset. We needed to reset in our lives, but we didn't know what to reset to. And finally, God broke us down so much, and He made us realize that the only place left to turn to was God. That was the only place we could turn to find our true joy. And that's when I discovered Cru. As I had some friends in Cru who, it looked like their lives were put together really well, and they were having a lot of fun. So I decided to check it out. And it's a good thing I did, because going to Cru really started rocketing me down the path towards finding Christ. And I joined up with Cru in November of 2014, and then 2 months later I went to Atlanta, Georgia for Passion 2015, which is where my life was transformed and I fully surrendered myself to Jesus. From that morning, it took 20,000 students in one arena to really, before I finally saw how beautiful God was and what Jesus did for me, what it really meant. And there was a pastor there, and he talked on, John Piper was his name, and he talked about 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. And the end of that verse says, or the verse says that Satan blinds the eyes of the unbelievers, so they can't see that Jesus is the image of God, is essentially what that verse says. And through hearing that verse, that was really something that propelled my life and just really gave me the vision of how beautiful God is. And now that I have that, it's completely changed the trajectory of my life. My complete joy is now, it's not in the fact that, I'm a baseball player. I don't need to have the exception of others in my life. I find my complete joy in the fact that Christ died on the cross for me, and He rose again, and He gave me that hope. And it's just, God has just done some amazing things through that. I have an amazing community in Cru that's very supportive and is very loving to me, and my relationship with Annette is stronger than it's ever been before, and I just keep continuing to grow in my faith. And, God is so good, and He's just done so many good things in my life. And before I knew God, spiritually I was dead, but now through Christ I'm alive.